USA and Canada. And these companies have trusted us with their implementations, and they continue to do business with us. So all aspects of ECM are covered in our digital transformation. We'd love you to come to booth 517 and see us, and we can demonstrate, we can talk to you, we can discuss how we can help you, and we will be handing out these shirts. They do fit people as well as rhinos, and they have an interesting message on the back, which I won't mention right now, but you can take a look at that. So let Ashley scan you, and then we will provide you with a shirt, and we will find out how we can help you, because we're sure we can help you. So I now want to switch to my friend here. So I'm going to show you, Mac's going to show you a video. This video may be familiar. Oops, no, that's not working. This video may be familiar to you. I'll pick one.
Can't hear it.
Tony, put your microphone by your computer.
Okay, that was an IBM commercial related to cloud and the Internet of Things. It was shown on national TV for more than a year. Those of you who are golf fans would have seen it multiple times during the Masters tournament last year. And this is the project that we're talking about today that we are involved with. So in IBM's world, this is an important key project. And it's a very necessary project because rhinos are being killed by poachers. At the current rate of kill versus birth, most rhinos will be extinct within 10 years. There's one species that is already extinct, and I'll come to that. And these are beautiful, iconic animals that all of us would want to preserve. This is what we don't want to happen. This is a real photo. I won't dwell on it because it's horrible. This is what they do to the rhinos. The interesting thing about this is that the rhino horn actually regrows. It's made of keratin like hair and nails, and you don't actually have to kill a rhino to get the rhino horn. But you can see the effect. The western black rhino is extinct. All other species of rhino except the white rhino are under severe threat, and the white rhino is also very vulnerable. So all rhinos are being poached. They are by far the most attacked animals in Africa. And this is a very sad story. Rhino horn is valued in certain parts of the world. It's more valuable than gold. And there's a supply chain where everybody makes a lot of money except the low-level poachers. These are people who are in very dire economic straits, and they do this to just feed their families. So it's really a situation where there's a criminal syndicate that funds all of this, a lot of money, and they are very well stocked and armed, so it's absolutely difficult to do anything about it. And right now, we're not succeeding. Rupert will tell you that his horn is not medicine. It's an absolute myth. The rhino horn doesn't help anything, but it's viewed as being kind of the magic solution to certain problems, and I won't even go into it. And other problems. So, it is not a medicine, it's a myth, but it's a very profitable myth for certain people. So we have been involved with what we actually call the Wildlife Protection Program, and we call it that because what we're doing is applicable to other animals, other species, all over the world, anything that may be under severe threat. So this is really a very important starting point, and I'll tell you a little more about it. We're doing it in the game park called Welgevonden in South Africa. There's a prize if you can pronounce that correctly. I can, because I originally come from there. And this is a large game park where animals are absolutely in their wild state, and it's a perfect place to do a pilot project. So that's where we've done the project. And now I'm going to show you a video where people from the game park explain what they are doing.
We got to a point where gradually we started saying to ourselves, you can't have them, you won't have them, we're going to stop you, and now we're going to try and make sure you can't have them anywhere in Southern Africa.
Sorry guys.
We got to a point where gradually we started saying to ourselves, you can't have them, you won't have them, we're going to stop you, and now we're going to try and make sure you can't have them anywhere in Southern Africa.
Species that is becoming endangered due to poaching throughout Africa, now especially in South Africa. Up until now, poachers have been increasing in numbers and they've become more militarized with weapons, and so of course we've had to do the same. This is not sustainable. The only way to do this better is to bring in technology and things that they do not have.
So the first thing people wonder is, why are you collaring animals that aren't rhino? The Wildlife Protection Program aims to protect rhino populations by using mega herbivores as a sentinel to detect poaching activity within a reserve. Your poacher enters an area, it's more likely to come across an impala than a rhino, and so these animals will then behave differently, and as soon as there's a change in their behavior, we'll be able to detect where exactly a poacher is, when he entered, and where he's intending on going.
So these sentinel animals have collars with a sensor on them. The sensor transmits information across a LoRa network, which is a low-power, wide-area network.
What we're looking at is the sensor collecting the data on the animal that gets back to the 3G network onto the IBM IoT platform. That data is then analyzed real time for the specific patterns we're looking for.
Well, because the project works with IBM, MTN, as well as Welgevonden University, each person has a different way of accessing this information depending on the use of that information. So I find it useful to know where the animals are so I can plan my experiment.
And all of that can be referred to as the latest evolution in the use of technology called the Internet of Things.
We immediately saw the potential between that application and our very strong, our biggest asset, network out in Africa, how we could partner to provide a superior solution for anything that's out there.
I think if I look at the Internet of Things, it's doing that in every ecosystem, around every single problem. Whether it's a business challenge that we're trying to solve in industry, whether it's a conservation issue that we're trying to solve in this case. Technology has become an integral part of conservation. Using technology, we are able to do far more and outcompete our competitors to ensure the survival of animals. But this project is very different to what people have been undertaking up until now. Most people have been reactive. This project, being proactive, allows us to catch the poachers well in advance before they even get close to Rhino, hopefully saving animals' lives and our staff in the process.
I don't think that us as humans have the right to destroy, but rather the responsibility to preserve.
Okay, and you see the IBM, this is very much an IBM-sponsored project, and I should add that it's sponsored by enChoice as well. We're not charging this customer anything. We are paying for all of the implementation, and we feel this is our little contribution to society. So basically, there's a partnership of IBM, enChoice, a university from the Netherlands which is doing a lot of the algorithms, which in turn are tied into Watson in using IBM technology. So this is our consortium, and then MTN is the biggest cell phone company in Africa. They're doing the communications network. So that is the partnership, and Jared, our project leader, spends most of his time there. They love him so much they're building a house for him, because there's not a lot of accommodation around there. And you can see Jared's pretty brave, but just a word about the rhino. The rhino is an animal that has no defensive mechanism in their DNA. The rhino does not expect to be attacked by anything, and you can imagine you'd be a pretty stupid animal to attack a rhino. So the rhino, collaring a rhino basically is useless, because by the time you get the message, the rhino is dead. But the sentinel animals have built into them the awareness system, and the research that has been done allows us to actually distinguish and identify the threat that those animals are sensing. So we can differentiate between a predator and a human being. That's the level of research that's been done. They're very impressive, mainly by the Dutch University, who are the leaders in wildlife and a huge IBM Watson customer. So we mentioned the LoRa network. Obviously, the sensing has to be moved to a point, which is basically, it's a classic Internet of Things architecture, ruggedized for this kind of implementation. We have already run a pilot project where about 100 animals were collared, and the university figured out that from a 95% success rate of poaching, we could bring this down to about 10%, which is a huge improvement. It will make it well worthwhile. So a very successful pilot, and right now we're embarking on the main project, which is what we called, and I think it's mentioned, the proof of production. This is the real thing. Jared is just starting to get that going, working with IBM and other partners. And we're building a system